Ladies and gentlemen, it's the Gift of Gaming podcast, and on this week's episode, Monster Hunter has been in the ether for quite some time now, and we've all put a lot of hours in. What's up, it's me, your host, Darren Wade, and today I'm joined by Craig the Critical Nolan. Craig, say hello.
Hello.
And my own blood and brother, Andrew Wade. Andrew, say hello.
Hello.
In case you didn't know, this episode is going to be a entire, well, I wouldn't say full review, but a little bit of a games, I can't remember what we call it. Games Corner?
Games Club?
Games Club. That's the one. That's what we call the thing.
A nice
Yeah. So this is just our, and this is, I suppose, I mean, I know you guys have finished Monster Hunter.
I like that you admit it out the gate that you haven't finished it, because therefore you have no right to review this game.
Well, this isn't a full review, as I said.
You only said that because I criticized you earlier about this.
It's the whole point of Games Club. We don't have to finish the game. It's just our thoughts. So you guys have finished the game. I have not got a credit roll, but I think I'm 90%. Well, I haven't gotten a second credit roll because I've gotten an initial credit roll.
Well, you need the third credit roll when you have all the gear and have killed all the monsters 50 times. Do you have that?
50? Rookie numbers.
Oh my god.
Well, I don't know, whatever because you get awards based on how many times you've hunted them, right?
So yeah, so 5, 10, you get one for 50 tempered, and then there's one for 100.
50.
100 normal, and then you also get
Guys,
one.
100 is a bit
It's
crazy.
really early days yet. Like, the game's only been out, what, like 3 weeks?
Yeah.
So
that's like
loads of time.
Should have put in more hours than I've already put in.
It's like 210 hours there.
Catch up. So I have... we're going to review Monster Hunter Wilds, Capcom's game, the game that we were chatting about lots on our previous episodes and our excitement. So before we kind of get into the nitty-gritty, I've got lots of different topics to talk about here, but off the top of your head, just give me, after how many, I start with you, Andrew, like how many hours into Monster Hunter Wilds are you at this stage, and what are your kind of, just off the top of your head, thoughts?
85 hours in, and I love the game and must put more hours in.
Okay, that's good. Craig, what about you?
I think it's a very, 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 very good game. An average Monster Hunter game.
Oh, great shout.
It's still an absolutely fantastic game compared to everything else out there.
Yeah.
But in its own category, that is Monster Hunter, I think it's third best.
Yeah. Yeah, I think...
And I've played 3.
I think, just from the top of my head, I've really enjoyed it, but I think I'm there with you, Craig, in that. And this is the Monster Hunter thing where we'll have to play like the in-between Monster Hunter until they actually bring out the DLC, which has all the really tough shit.
Yeah.
Where
Well,
I think
that's the thing as well, though. Is like we're basing this, which is basically an unfinished product, versus the other Monster Hunters we played, which were like we had the Master Ranks or I don't know what Rise was.
No, because I mean, in World you've defeated the end boss. In Rise you didn't defeat the end boss. They were like, oh, the end boss is coming in a few weeks, and then you had to wait a while to fight the end boss. In this game, Wilds, it's the exact same thing. Halfway through low rank, we fought this weird dragon thing that just flew off, and then I've rolled credits and we haven't come across him again. So like, they set up a monster that we didn't fight, a second time.
That's a good point.
So,
I'm trying to think which monster that
so
was.
this game also didn't end.
Which monster is this one?
Do you remember you arrive you're down in that Wisteria place, and this fucking dragon thing appears out of it kind of hatches, but then you fight it briefly and then it flies off.
I have no recollection of this.
Nor I.
Yeah, it was a very, very quick fight, so I can imagine maybe you just forgot. But it's there, and you never fight it again.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, it kind of has very Fatalis vibes to it. Like, it kind of has that look. Some people were even saying maybe it's a white version of Fatalis type thing.
Oh, you talking about the white thing that turns grey as you fight it?
No, that thing you kill.
No, that's Zalthea or whatever.
No, it's in the low rank. You're fighting. It's one of those you have to like repel it, and then it runs away.
Okay, okay, good noted. I have no. I was just probably rushing
for me,
so much
because you didn't fight that again. Like, well, then the game isn't really over.
Yeah.
So they're like teasing that out.
Well, the game definitely isn't over because, like that, I mean, we'll get at some point next year. I know in April, beginning of April, we've got the first of the free updates, which will include a online hub. So like a more of a guild area, which I think the game is crying out for. We'll get into that in a little bit. And some new monsters, I think, from Rise, it looks like.
Yeah, the is it Mitsune or is it Somnicant?
Mitsune,
yeah, the water bubble monster.
Yeah.
Thank God, there's... In all 3 Monster Hunter games, I'm always like, where the hell are the water monsters? Why even have a water element if you had that Juro Dio whatever thing which was shit. That's the worst monster in the entire game. Do you know that fish thing?
Oh
that-
yeah,
in
the big
mud?
Titan one.
It's
Yeah.
like the only water monster in
Yeah.
Worlds, and it's awful. It's a crap fight. And even in this game, you fight an octopus or a squid thing, and it's a fire monster.
Yeah.
I'm like, Jesus Christ, do we not have like 20 fire monsters already? Like, you know?
We do get the new one. I can't remember what it's called. That's the problem. I'm struggling with the names in these. Is that I love, and this is we're kind of on free form at the minute, but I love. I've really enjoyed the new monsters, but I have no real memory of their names. None of their names
Yeah.
are sticking with me like
I
some
know
of the
Zoo
previous
Will
ones.
only 'cause
fair-
it's easy.
Yeah.
To be fair, I think that's like when you're playing through the story, you only really come across each one once, maybe twice. But then once you finish the story and you start like hunting all the templates and stuff, I now know all the names of all the monsters.
Okay,
only
we're
because
gonna
you
need
just hunt them so much afterwards. Kind of thing.
But like, did you hunt like the standard like the Chakabra or whatever? I've only fought him once because why would I need to fight
Well-
him again? Because his armor's shit, his weapon's shit. I don't need anything to do with him. you know?
There's bits and pieces you need off him to create certain parts of like the armor, and I don't know if you're using the talismans and the bracelets and stuff.
Yeah. Well, I just like craft whatever talisman I need, like, you know.
Yeah,
which is
so I
obviously
find
just a
that-
skill I want. So I'm not going to craft like 20 talismans. I'll have 2, maybe, you know, 3.
I have a lot of talismans. No, I found like his hide is needed for quite a few of them to start.
Well, that's
So.
a good idea to make you want to use them, but I haven't needed to like fight any of those kind of
Mhm.
weaker monsters again, which is a shame because I was really hoping the tempered versions of those monsters would be like end game level. You know, they'll just hype up their stats to make it fun.
But
Yeah.
I imagine that's what we could do with like Iceborne, because when Iceborne first came out for Monster Hunter, like the very first monster, unless you nerfed it and just used that armor they gave you, if you were just going by your original armor, the first one absolutely
Yeah,
destroyed you.
that ice shark thing,
Yeah,
wrecked me.
absolutely
Yeah.
wrecked you. Like,
Yeah, and which I'm looking forward to. And they did say, I think, I'm not quite sure if it's in the spring update that's in April, but they did say that there's a new type of monster above tempered. So I think that's probably for us, the hardcore Monster Hunter fans, to get something that's really difficult. But to kind of go through the game, I want to talk about, and we kind of get it out of the way because it's not really an important part of Monster Hunter at all, but the storyline.
yeah.
You know,
Rubbish, pointless,
can
and
I-
hinders multiplayer massively.
well, yeah,
If
we'll
they-
get to
if
that.
they just ditched the story altogether, they'd have saved a lot of money, pleased a lot of people because we could have played with each other, and like there would have been no negatives. They would have had more space for bigger areas or more monsters rather than make these ridiculous cutscenes.
Yeah.
You know,
I did
with
enjoy some of them,
cute-
though, I have to say.
What?
I did
have
enjoy
to
some of the
I
cutscenes.
have to say, I enjoyed the story more in this game than I've enjoyed any other Monster Hunter. I don't know if Monster Hunter story, most of the story, but I think because, and this is just me, because I've played the same character through every single Monster Hunter game, and I've just made him gradually older, to finally able to hear him talk, I thought was fantastic. And it's a proper voice line.
Yeah.
It's not like yes, no, maybe.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
get full on voice
My
line.
character's voice wasn't good though. Like
So
you only hear them like grunt and
Yeah.
stuff when you're picking the voice, but then when they're actually speaking sentences, you're like, well, that's not what he sounded
I
like.
can't remember what quest it was that we were doing, Craig, but we had jumped on a quest, and I think it was like we've done a few together, but I haven't really been like, because so much goes on, I hadn't really been paying attention to everything. But at one point, I think you had jumped onto the monster and were stabbing it, whatever else, and I think the character says, "I've mounted the monster, whatever else," and I heard your character's voice, and I was like, "Ooh."
Like it's just so camp. you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, yeah,
It's,
yeah.
it's so by the book, you know. It's as if like the person was told, "Hey, no emotion, just try and be as plain as possible. We're not looking to offend anyone." You
Well,
know?
I actually
It's
thought
like,
so
ugh.
because it is. I mean, I think in terms of in that regards, yes, it's fairly straightforward. But I had a much deeper. Like I think I picked a kind of an aggressive-ish voice and I pitched it lower as well. So my guy, he's a grizzled samurai-looking dude, and his whole voice thing, I like that. The story isn't much. I 100% agree. It's the same thing as any Monster Hunter. It's like there's something wrong with the environment. The monsters are the problem. We have to get the balance between life and monsters, whatever else. So you go off and you kill monsters. That's it. That's all there is to it. But in this one, I enjoyed some of the interactions that my character was having with other people. That I was like, oh, okay.
What kind of interactions? What are you talking about?
So I quite liked in terms of some of the characters in certain towns weren't that interesting, but I quite
There's no
liked.
towns. There's just the same camp that looks exactly identical to every
No,
other
yeah, but
fucking
when you go, so the oil well basin, like I think
The
is
Everforge.
okay.
the Everforge
Yeah,
bit,
the
and you have
Everforge.
like, I mean, and there's a little bit like there's just a little sprinkle of the culture that you get in these places. So like the oil well basin has the 3 factions, like the oil people, the bone people, and I can't remember what the third
Stone
people was.
people, I
Stone
think.
people, yeah. So it's like get a little bit of that, and then in Kunafa, which is the first town in the plains area, you get a bit of like these are people are very what's the word? They're pacifiers, like they don't fight, they don't have weapons, all that kind of stuff. And they use, I mean, it's a fairly non-believable thing that they use like the chimes to stop the monsters from attacking their village, but like for the most part it works. And I like, there's some parts that I like them, and like in the early part of the game, the Dog Shuma attack their village, and that whole cutscene where you're chasing them through the village as there's a horde of them with the alpha pack. I was like, this stuff's interesting and a bit different. I can get behind some of this, and like that. I enjoyed that my character had bits and pieces to say about it all as well. I was like, cool. He's not just a faceless, voiceless dude that's just hacking and slashing monsters. It's a bit of a slight bit of a grow up for Monster Hunter. Not enough in terms of for me to say this is a good storyline. But
okay, well now, just off the top of my head, imagine instead of that, we just had the game opens and it's a fucking extinction level monster, and he's absolutely tearing apart your homeland.
Yeah,
and it's you guys sailing off on the boats as he fires this fucking nuclear blast from his mouth, this giant dragon, and he annihilates the place. And everyone's on these ships sailing off, and they're devastated because this extinction level dragon has just destroyed your homeland, and you're off to this new continent in search of fucking wonder or whatever. But little do you know, when you land, you find out that like most of the people who survived are some of the worst people out there, and you have some really aggressive hunters that are just like, no, this new island, this new land is ours, we're taking it, we're going to kill all these monsters off and let's go. And so you have these like rival hunters also competing like you to try and claim territory and stuff like that. And it's slowly revealed that like the only reason that dragon destroyed your entire homeland was because these hunters woke it up, wanted to kill it, and like really tried to like, you know, mess with it. And so that creature has now followed you onto this new land, and it's this moral battle between good and evil. It's like, are the humans right, are the monsters right, who gets to live? It's all about extinction, you know.
Not to nerd out in Monster, but like the hunter's whole creed is only go by what the guild allows them to hunt. They're all the hunters.
But then shouldn't there be a villain that maybe isn't the monster, you know? Because humans are the biggest villains of them all, aren't they, Darren?
So, yeah, I mean, I see what you're doing there.
I would like some moral grey area as opposed to just the happy-go-lucky, let's just kill the monster, and isn't it a good time?
The only problem I would say about that is having a human villain that you would never fight. Like, should have been like the game isn't...
No, but what I would think would be cool is if, you know, they're the big shot and they're like, oh, we just beat a Ratalo, so good luck you, and you're the low rank hunter and you have to slowly get to that level. But then halfway through the game, these people are wiped out by like the real threat, the real beasts, the real dragons, and you're like, oh my god, like, you know... Like, if our best couldn't take them down, if our S-rank hunters couldn't deal with it, what chance do we have, you know? And it's slowly building up until maybe there's only a few hunters left, you know?
I mean, yeah, maybe, but like...
It's just cool as opposed to, you know, let's fight that monster, that monster, that monster, that monster. And
but that's what Monster Hunter has always been and will always be. And that's enough. Like, do you know what I mean?
But then don't bother with the story if you're not going to make it good.
The story is only ever there to introduce each individual monster.
But the story is... No, because Rise didn't have a story, and they still had a cool cutscene with every single monster where you just kind of got to see it. Like, some guys like telling a story, and it's kind of like the lore of that monster. Yeah. That was brilliant. And that didn't... You could skip that and you could like still play multiplayer. In this, because it's a cutscene and because you have to talk to different people and then set up to see that monster, nobody can join. And like all four players would need to be at that exact point in the story to even be able to do anything together. And three of them would have to start the quest, finish the cutscene, then exit out of the quest, and then join the person.
Yeah.
Like, that is horrendous.
Yeah, and so that'll be my first point on the game as a whole, and in 2025, that is unacceptable and unforgivable, Capcom. Yeah. And the thing that hurts me the most about this idea that it would make you play through a storyline in which you cannot really get your mates involved in, and you kind of have to play it solo almost, is it just defeats the entire purpose of what Monster Hunter is meant to be. And what I think angers me the most is that World suffered the same problem, and then they fixed it in Rise and went back to it for Wilds. And I don't understand why they did it.
But what's mad is in World, at least the cutscenes were short. In this, you can be talking to someone for 10, 15 minutes sometimes. Like
it was funny because when we were all on chat sometimes, and like, let's say, I think Niall was a bit further behind than us, we'd hop into a quest and we'd help Niall, and then he'd be off doing a cutscene, and we'd be able to go off and kill the monster, maybe even two, before we had to hop in to help Niall with his next one because of all the rigmarole. So
for our listeners, right, when Monster Hunter came out, we spent the entire day playing it together. Okay, that was like 8 hours of just non-stop play. How many hunts did all four of us fight with each other?
One
in 8 hours.
Yeah.
And we tried every single time, but we failed because we were all at different levels of the story, even though we all just started the game.
Yeah.
Being one quest or even 20 minutes back is enough to completely hinder your progress.
Yeah.
Like, you know? So like that for me, for the person who just wants to play with my friends, I wasn't able to do that,
Yeah.
you know? And it's only really now, once you're all at the same point in the game, post end game, where you can all really compete and like play with each other to like get materials. But by that stage, most people are done with the game anyway.
Yeah.
So there's no real good balance on where you're supposed to play multiplayer, because you really kind of have to catch these moments if you're lucky, and if you're not, well then it's going to be a few hours before you get to play.
Yeah.
I do agree with that. Like, I didn't notice all that much, but that's just because I solo burned through the entire story.
Yeah.
So, because, you know, for that. But I think with Monster Hunter, and I think for that as well, it's like, I always find that getting through the story is the single player experience, and then Monster Hunter kicks off after the story.
Yeah, and I'd be fine with that, but this one was too long.
Oh no, I agree
and
with
in
that.
Rise,
yeah.
like the single player was the multi, like it was just, you could
Hop in at any point
and
in
no
time.
matter, like you could be on your very first quest and you could just jump into a high rank quest, and like it wouldn't mean you're now on high rank. It just means when you get to high rank, that one is just marked as done. And
Yeah.
that's simple, that's easy, that's
Yeah.
great, you know, that's all we needed. But in this, it's no, because there's a cutscene that would interfere with this and the daytime and the wind, and
Yeah,
who
yeah.
gives a shit, you know?
Yeah, and we struggle a lot with while we're on that subject. So like, story mediocre, and it comes with its problems and what holds it back. But as well, the multiplayer as a whole wasn't the easiest thing to get to grips with, in terms of, because they now have. As opposed to stages, which kind of Rise and World have, they now have a much more open world kind of feel. So you can travel from the first place, the Windward Plains. You can actually travel from there all the way to the ruins of Wyveria. Like you can just walk it all the way.
But there's no reason to ever do that. That's,
No.
That's outrageous.
But that's what they've gone for, this big open world thing. And I think within that, there's just one loading screen, which is, I think, when you go into from the oil well basin to the ice shard cliffs, I think there's just a slight loading
But
time.
no, it's still there's still the 5 zones, which
Yeah.
aren't actually connected. It's just PS5 loading times are good.
No,
so
they're
tricking
all
it.
connected. You can walk straight through.
You can actually walk from one to the next. You don't actually need to.
You
use
can
the map
walk
at
from
all.
one side of Monster Hunt, like their world, all the way
But
to the
there'll
other.
be a transition when you get to the end of the map.
No, well, I mean, you just walk through like another little, like a canyon, or go underground to the oil well basin. They're all
but
connected.
that's a load screen. It's just the PS5 can do that.
You can do that, yeah.
But that's not a world, like the fact that you can't see the connected map together
Yes.
means they're fooling you.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. But I think because they've gone for that, they have, which was a great idea. They're like, oh, we're trying to expand and make these things bigger and open world. It meant that, like, when you were trying to go into one of the world maps and say, hey, everybody come follow me, the lobby was essentially the base camp, which is nothing like the guilds in the previous games, which were fun places to go hang out and easy to access all your equipment and all your items. But then when you went out into the map in this game, the moment you leave the base camp, the people around you just disappear. So that's essentially the lobby. And the only way you can get people to come around and run around that particular map with you was by inviting them to an environment link, which Kev discovered much later on. And fine, it's a work through, but it took us a while to figure out how to get, like, we're fine with it now, but it took us all a while to figure out, like, what's the quickest way for us to be able to join quests.
There was no in-game explanation for any of this.
Yeah.
Because I found, like, I was trying to join you guys, and you started sending me link invitations, Craig, and then I think I got one from you as well. There.
Yeah.
I had no clue what.
I think they the one thing they give you is the squad lobby and the squad guild. Like, you can set up your own squad. That was the only thing that I got. The rest of it we just kind of had to figure out
You
ourselves.
just kind of figure it out. But I mean, like, this is my third Monster Hunter game. I was like, imagine it was your first. Like, you know, like,
you'd really struggle.
You really need to just watch a ton of YouTube videos to explain everything. You
Yeah.
know? And I watch a ton of YouTube videos, and this is my third game. Like, you know.
And this is where I have some problems with the game, in that, and we'll get to it, but in terms of the gameplay has been simplified, I believe, to allow access to a wider range of people, so that people can come into this as their first Monster Hunter, and it's not like the massive grind of the previous ones where. But at the same time, because they've done that, it's like, okay, so you've sacrificed the level of difficulty to let everybody else in, but you haven't made it simple for those beginners to actually get to grips with
they're not
it.
explaining anything.
No.
It's not until high rank that they even give you a trank bomb, you know. And I'm just like, really, we should have been using these the entire time.
Yeah.
Like,
I genuinely, that was just thinking, I thought I was missing out on something. I was like, how the hell do I was like, I like capture monsters. Where the
I've
hell
only
is the
captured
capture
2
option?
monsters ever, because I'm like, why would
Yeah.
the game doesn't seem to incent, like, in Worlds you definitely got better stuff for
Capturing.
capturing.
Yeah.
In this you don't. So I'm just like,
Also not a huge fan of the fact that you can capture everything.
Yeah.
Like in the last, remember, like you couldn't.
The Elder Dragons and stuff.
Yeah, you can capture all the Elder Dragons. Well, I suppose they aren't really Elder Dragons. They're never
guess,
mentioned as
yeah,
Elder
yeah.
Dragons, so I
Well,
suppose
I
there is that.
Well,
can
you catch those?
You can catch Gormagal. You can catch
You can
anything.
catch a tempered Arkveld or a tempered Gormagal.
Oh no, I don't mind those, but like the bigger ones, those long ones that you have, like
you
the
can't
Jacques
capture
Eved
the
or-
big massive long
Yeah,
boss.
that's
thing,
fine.
you know.
I would see that's to me that's kind of the game it's always been. But yes, I suppose moving from the story, we'll go on to the gameplay and stuff like that. And I think one of the
we stuck to story for a while, so that's why all the negative chat was coming out, because I still think this is a great game. It's just once you mention story, I'm just going to shit on it.
yeah, which is totally reasonable.
I hear like I love Monster Hunters to the death. Even I have to admit the story was a bit naff.
But but
I would be fine with the story if it didn't sacrifice the multiplayer
Yes,
the
aspect
gameplay,
for the sake
exactly.
of it.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it does, so no, it can fuck off.
Yeah, agreed. You know, I'd agree with that. And some of the characters aren't lovable. No one likes Nada.
Yeah.
No.
He's just a
he's
whiny
so
old
annoying.
bitch.
He's
Like,
such an annoying character. So we go into gameplay, gentlemen. You are so to give a bit of background, Craig. You have played through Monster Hunter World, Rise, and now
all the DLCs,
Wilds.
I guess Sunbreak and Iceborne.
All the DLCs. Andrew, you and me started the PlayStation 2, that impossibly difficult Monster Hunter game on the PlayStation 2.
Yes, that I actually went back and bought. I found a copy of Monster Hunter for the PS2, and I still had it working PS2, and I tried it. It's still impossible.
It's still impossible, and it's janky because you use like an analog stick to attack as opposed to like triangle circle, and it's a real grind of a game.
So you have to push the analog stick forward to do your main attacks,
Yeah.
swing around in a circle to do your back
Like
attacks.
this is where I fell in love with Monster Hunter, and then when they came out in the PSP, it was much better. So we've been playing it since the PlayStation 2, so we're all very much Monster Hunter veterans here, and I think as great that is, I think it's to our detriment of the enjoyment of the game in some aspects, in that I think it's easier than it ever has been to play Monster Hunter and kill monsters and progress through the game, to the point where very early on I was not in, like, you can send up an SOS flare in the middle of a mission that if anybody in your lobby can hop in and join in. I stopped doing that very early on and just put myself into a private lobby, be like, I'm going to solo all this stuff just to make it difficult for me, unless we were all playing together. Say, hey, do you want to hop in for a few monster missions? But aside from that, like in terms of the updates to some of the weapon mod stuff like that, I am having a blast. It's just classic Monster Hunter. There's anime, cool boss fights. They don't last long enough.
Yeah,
Because we're that good, I think, and they are a little
it's not
easier.
just because we're good.
It's a little easier.
It
is a lot
definitely
easier, yeah.
because the fights are half as long, like in terms of length. You know?
The monster's HP is a lot less than it was in previous games.
Yeah.
Your weapons do way more damage way quicker. Like I think in Monster Hunter World, even into Iceborne, I think I capped out like 1,200 damage on one of my weapons. I've got a hammer now that does 1,600 damage all told.
You mean its number says that? It doesn't actually, like when you hit a monster, the
I managed-
1,600 damage doesn't pop
No.
up.
So I was using that weapon. I managed to get up to 980 on one hit,
Oh shit!
which is
I
insane.
didn't know that was possible.
But yeah, that's the thing. But it's insane to do that kind of damage like before you even hit master rank.
Yeah.
So yeah, like they have less health. You do more damage. Your Palico is a wonder child who knows every skill every other Palico has ever known.
You don't
So-
even have to like switch skills to Palico. He just knows.
He just knows everything. And like
yeah, so that was a thing that I think is, there's two aspects to the gameplay that I have, and like I said, I'm saying a lot of negative. We love this game, but I'm just talking about things that I think I was just disappointed to come across. One was the Palico and the training of the Palico, or in like Rise, you would hire different Palicos who had different skills, which I quite enjoyed, because if you were like, oh, I'm in the mood for capturing a monster, you'd bring your capture specialist with you and things like that, and it added a bit more of a strategy to how you planned it. And in World and Rise, it incentivized you to actually explore the map. Like I'm a big collector, and in Rise especially, there was like hidden passages,
Rise
hidden
is the
scripts
best
and stuff.
for collect, because
Yeah.
it's so vertical that there's so many secrets.
Yeah,
you know?
but there's been nothing in this game yet, even the Endemic Life, which I've actually spent a good time capturing, that has led me to actually explore the levels. We've got 5 areas. We've got the Windward Plains, the Scarlet Forest, Oilwell Basin, Iceshard Cliffs, and Ruins of Wyveria. I think I know well the Scarlet Forest, and that's probably it.
I don't know any of them. In every other monster game, I knew them inside out. I knew
Yeah. So-
exactly where to go. In this, I don't care, because if I bring up the map, it just tells me exactly where everything
is.
and I don't have to look for
so
anything.
something I found to not do. Don't use a secret or sacred, however the hell you pronounce the damn bird thing. I found walking around myself. I've actually gone on quests now, and I leave that back at the base and just walk to it, and you discover so much more of the map in the process.
Yeah, but I don't have the wire bugs to like go really like exploring a Rise without your dog is great, because like that wire bug, you can essentially like fly almost like it, and it's
Yeah.
so fun to like jump up a wall and then climb up. In this, I can just run for 5 seconds. No, that's not good enough. Like, I can't go back after having all that mobility to having no mobility. It's
So
just it's painful. You know,
you're
so
talking
the
to
sec
someone.
rate is fine.
You're talking to someone who uses like the great sword and the gun lance. Their mobility has never been a thing for me. I just enjoy walking. Like, it's just,
Yeah, I mean, like, so, like, I forcibly spent a bit of time myself doing, like, fishing and capturing things, whatever. I was finishing all those side quests that
Ooh,
they
I
had.
have to ask, did you find the sand star?
Yes,
Did you catch it?
yes.
That nearly destroyed me.
I was laughing because I had to, it kept running away from me and I couldn't catch for ages, so I ended up just pulling on a ghillie mantle and sneaking up on it and caught it that way. I was like, oh, okay, so at least the ghillie mantle works. There
That
you go,
sounds
yeah.
terrible. I don't want to do any of that.
But so, yeah.
It's
but so,
fun, though.
No,
I-
see, this is the thing, is I don't think it is fun in that even doing those things, which I think in previous games would have given you an opportunity to explore the level more, you go into this, and in fairness, like, I struggled. The sand star thing was the only one I had to look up online because I had no idea where it was spawning from. But it's just you go to that place and you capture it, and there's no in between bits. Essentially,
what did you get for the sand star?
Trophy, and just it's in your
Give me
log.
give me an armor set with that, and then I'm all over it.
Yeah,
I'll look it up.
Yeah.
No problem.
Missed opportunities there because even in the fishing, there's interesting like small squids, like octopuses, and like big fish that you catch. And I love some like hilarious armor pieces that you could get with them, like a fish head for fun. Like, why not?
Just
Like,
why
you know.
not? Yeah, just throw it out there.
Yeah.
That would incentivize me to get because I want all the clothes.
Yeah.
I just think they're
Yeah.
great. Like, you know.
So like, well, I suppose moving on to the maps now, and I think what the Wilds has gone for is its shtick, which I really enjoy sometimes, but I think again it's just made it that I really don't know the levels. But the fact that Wilds has gone for this fallow, tide, and plenty. As there, you know, you can go to any one of these places and they'll be experiencing one of 3 weather events.
Yeah.
The fallow is when everything is just like, you know, it's famine. Essentially, everything's dead or dying, and it's a harsh environment. Tide tends to be a storm of some kind or an event of some kind, which then allows the world to turn into a world of plenty. Where it's kind of greener, nicer. I mean, you can rest and you can choose which mode to go in on, and because fallow is so it's just got like
boring.
such a not that it's
both are boring. Like,
I
there's,
know, I
there's
find
only a
it-
33% chance of the game looking good because the other 2 filters that they've used, the blue and the orange, make the game look shit.
Yeah, no, I have said like I do enjoy because I think you and me were playing it, and the sandstorm kicked in while we were, I think, and we both charged into the sandstorm as it came over the dunes, and that was
no.
class,
So
wasn't it?
it
That's
does.
fun, but it still doesn't look good. I'm just like, oh, it's cool that we're in a sandstorm. But when I look in the distance, I'm like, you can't see shit. And now the graphics have just like taken a nosedive.
Yeah,
You know?
and
Yeah.
I think because they went for this kind of ever-changing environment, I think the graphics of the game have suffered because of it. I think it was very much a
didn't
choice
have
they
the
made.
technology to do what they wanted to do, so instead they just went with filters because the game looks really rough when you're in one of those bad weather situations. Like,
Yeah.
and even when you're fighting monsters, it's much harder to see them. Like, I was fighting a Rathian and he was just completely grey. Like, just the color detail is just lost on some
Everything
of the
gets
things.
washed out.
It
And
gets washed out. Yeah.
One thing about that I really don't like, I think it happens in the Dust Storm. I don't know if it happens anywhere else. I love Monster Hunter because of the armor. Because
Yeah,
of the different armors you can make and looking like a badass walking around. And I've now got all the Death Stench gear, which makes me look like the Grim Reaper kind of thing, which is fantastic. And every time there's a dust storm, my armor gets covered in dust and I look like a grey smudge. And it's just a lumpy grey smudge running around hunting monsters. Like, no, where's
Yeah.
where's a pool of water?
I
to
love
dive in
I
or
love the idea. I just don't think the execution was.
But it's great for the future if they're going that way. I get it. They just weren't ready in 2025. I would rather just sunny and the game looks nice.
Yeah.
Let's just do that because you weren't ready for this. You're trying to pretend there's 15 zones, but there's actually 5. You know, like you're not secretly getting more by doing less. You know, I know a lot of games do this with the Dark World scenario type shit, but in this it doesn't work. It just makes it look worse.
Yeah,
you know?
and I think that the thing about a World was that all the environments that you went in, because Rise is on the Switch, and Rise is not a pleasant game to look at, but like wasn't expected to be. It's a Switch game.
So they went with pure gameplay.
Yeah, which is
like
great.
East. They knew what they were doing.
And
yeah.
World had, I think, the best of both worlds. Excuse the pun there. In that, like, the gameplay was a lot of fun, but the game looked great. Like, I mean, Wilds hasn't really improved from a graphics perspective that much on World, I would say. And plenty of things look great, which is nice. And again, I really love that they were going to this thing that you would have an ever-changing environment if you stayed in a place long enough doing hunts. I think like that's cool. Like, I mean, I remember a video that we watched only recently, just to remind ourselves, Donkey does a video on World, and it's he's like it's a spoof basically on him playing Monster Hunter, but he's talking about how the fights go on so long that he was like, I was fighting this at daytime and now I'm fighting this thing at nighttime, and that's cool in World. But for me, I think the things don't change often enough for that to make it, and the fights don't last long enough for me to ever feel like I'm.
Well, that's the thing. It's like I'm playing in World, and I remember I think I was fighting. What was the Rajang, the Golden Rajang? I remember there was one quest where towards the end where you had to fight two of those at the same time. I remember doing that solo, and the fight literally went on to the point where there was 30 seconds left by the end of it when I managed to kill him.
I know,
but you passed through entire day and night cycles.
Yeah, but this is where I think we're probably being a bit unfair to the game, because this is base game Wilds, and I think we'll get that. I think we'll get to that in the later stuff in the DLC. I think kind of, Craig, you jumped onto World, and you didn't have to wait that long for Iceborne, right? Was it all there?
We all played World day one.
Did we?
It was only a couple of years later we went back to Iceborne, but Iceborne had been out for a year and all the DLC was out and stuff. So
yes, we had.
It felt great for us because we didn't have to wait for anything.
Yeah, and I think we'll probably fall victim of the same thing in this scenario, whereas this game is like, this has been easy enough, whatever else. But when we get to whatever DLC, I think we'll have those fights. We'll have those things that take longer, because I think it's still like that, as you said. It's a work in progress. I know it's a completed game with hundreds, 100 odd hours easy of content in it. But we know it's not the true Monster Hunter, and I feel it probably being a bit. I mean, I know it's what I'm talking about now, but I know it's probably we're comparing it to completed versions of the other two games.
Well, no, I mean, I'm trying, because I am comparing it to Monster Hunter World, which still ended. You still beat the boss, and it was like game over. Whereas this, there is no game. Like you literally the boss you're supposed to fight just escapes. So like it isn't over.
I have to look this up as well, because I honestly don't know which monster this is.
Yeah.
I was just breeze past it.
I can't remember the names of any monster other than Zoo Woo.
Going on to that, then, actually, speaking as it's a Monster Hunter game, one of the other topics I have here is the monsters. So we've had a couple of new monsters. They all kind of seem to have, I would say, kind of Chinese-esque names for the most part. But do you have a favorite amongst the ones the new ones for this game?
New ones?
Yeah.
Yes, and it was because I did a video of it, but I was going through that volcano area, and like I was riding to help like 3 other people who were like fighting the black flame.
Nice.
The
octopus thing.
The octopus thing. And like I was up on top of a mountain, I could see all 3 guys below, and I was just like, how do I get down there? And I just jumped and I vaulted, and like I made contact with the monster and instantly was on top, and I just started beating the shit out of him. I was like, oh, what an amazing thing, because I was up really high and I just jumped from and it was great because he has like 8 tentacles or whatever, he's kind of like, nobody's like fighting him from the front. Everyone's at all these different angles. Yeah. So it's kind of like you're fighting a few tentacles, that guy's fighting a few tentacles. It's a different way of fighting. It's because he's no real front or back. He's kind of just swinging in all directions. So everyone's getting kind of pushed away. And
it's mad that we got him, who I thought was a great introduction, and then we got like a second kind of octopus type thing. With
he was also really good.
Yeah.
But I just thought that the flames looked amazing, and the lava area. The fire always looks good on PS5 for whatever reason, but they do a great job of making a real spectacle out of it.
Yeah.
And I just really enjoyed that fight.
Because when most of the monsters get angry or pissed off, they just tend to be a bit more aggressive, whereas the octopus thing, the black flame, sets himself on fire to get fighting, which is such a cool...
It's a cool system, and like he even has these kind of eruption moves that just like explode everything around him and stuff like that.
Do you have any particular ones that you...
So my favourite one to fight so far in it is a returning monster.
No, we're talking new monsters.
No, because mine's also that. But
so hang on, because Arkfeld was in a game before, was he? Or
no, Arkfeld's the
Arkfeld's my favourite kind of.
Is he the monkey?
No, Arkfeld's the big white dude.
The one with chains.
Oh, okay, yeah. Sorry.
For a couple of reasons. One, the sounds he makes are fantastic. And he has, as you and me discussed, Craig, the last time we were fighting him, you can be over one side of the map, you'll still get hit by the chain blades.
The chains reach anywhere.
And if you're in a tight confined thing with him, you're going to get hit left, right, and centre. And I think the changes they've made is you've now got like counter attacks you can do, which if you time your attacks with the monster attacks, you can knock them backwards, which are great. And with the gun lance and the greatsword are easy enough to do, but they look badass. But because I play as nothing but greatsword and gun lance, I've now managed to master fighting Arkfeld and getting those attacks in constantly. So the fights are, he hits me, I knock him back, then I go in, get the strength testing with him, you push him back, he goes in for another attack, I get the counter attack, and it's just basically us countering each other the entire fight. So I now solo him without the palico, just for the enjoyment I get out of like countering his attacks.
Nice. Yeah.
But And again, the noise of his chains, the noise he makes, the roars, it just looks badass.
But the main monster's always going to be great, though.
Yeah, he's very good.
Zoran
flagship
Magdaros
monster.
was not the greatest monster in the world.
He wasn't the. It was Nergigante was the.
Nergigante was
he's the, like,
Rise.
No.
Nergigante
was World, but like
Oh, sorry, he was.
Magnamalo, I think, was,
Zoran Magdaros was like the big monster you see at the start, and that's the one.
Yeah,
that
but he
goes-
wasn't the face monster on the
he
box.
wasn't
Yeah.
the Rathalos
Nergigante
of
was
Monster
the face
Hunter. Yeah.
monster.
I suppose, yeah.
For me, it was Ray Dow. I'm a big fan of Ray Dow and the fact that it fires the lightning shocks at you. It was
Yes.
kind of
Yeah, good.
and when you got the beta test, when they brought out the second beta test and they brought out again after the PlayStation thing shut down, finally got an opportunity to go and maybe give him a go, and he like absolutely whooped me, and I was like, great, okay, cool. I know he's a tough monster, but him, I did I fought a tempered one recently, and it was quite cool because I ran out, and while I was fighting him, the storm kicked in, and then he retreated to that area that like kind of where everything is electrified.
Yeah.
And it was, from my perspective, such a spectacle. Like just me and my palico going toe to toe with this thing, and again, like the little zap noises he makes. There's a huge like the sound design for lots of these monsters is
brilliant,
incredible.
Yes.
And one of my favorite sounds is all of the Guardian monsters. When they're prepping to, like, the Guardian monsters are, like, all of the monsters, I guess, potentially could be Guardian. We've come across some. You guys are a bit further than me, so you might know better. But I know that some of our monsters can become Guardian ones, which they're kind of white and they wound differently and they are a bit more powerful. But the noise that they make when they're doing their big attacks, because they can create, I guess, these kind of, like, structures around them, and then they blow up when they hit them as well as an added thing. The noise of all that kind of stuff in the game is great. But you said you had a returning monster that was your favorite.
Gravios.
Oh, okay.
What?
I know.
Gravios is one of the worst monsters in all of Monster Hunter. He just
always-
rolls around. He's a big rock.
The reason behind it is, like, in previous Monster Hunter games, once the hammer was brought in, the hammer became my go-to weapon for everything, because I just love the... You saw me as well with the Zin... what's the big guy? The covered in metal strips.
Zajavet.
We're talking about Gravios here. Come on.
Yeah, but you see, like, with the hammer, you can wail on them kind of thing. But with the Gravios as well, like, you cannot break through his armor with normal weapons. Everything you hit him, if you go around for the ball, everything just bonks off him. The hammer with there's certain decorations you can use called Mind's Eye, so it ignores... You can hit through anything kind of thing.
The Mind's Eye, you don't deflect.
Yeah,
and you
so
do more
with
damage.
fighting Gravios as well, like, I have got my greatsword with that on, so I can go toe-to-toe with him that. But his beam weapons, I love them.
Oh, his flamethrower and his...
But that's you can't. That doesn't make him good. You know,
It's
like the
I
fight with him
fought-
itself.
Do you know
is
what?
Just not
Do you know what?
that
Actually, I
much fun.
have the next time you guys are on, I'll show you. I have a investigation saved with him. I've got 2 runs left on it. I've only done them once. It's a gold crown one, and he is gigantic. And I mean, like, bigger than anything else I've fought so far, apart from
Yeah, the main boss. Yeah.
the ice guy. But just fighting something of that size is just fantastic. And he's because he's a tempered one. When he does his roll, like, I can block that, but it's the only monster in the game so far that actually makes me worried that my Gunlance block isn't enough. Everything else I steamroll through. This guy, I tanked his beam head on with the Gunlance, and you can just watch my stamina bar go, ew.
I
Like,
know
oh,
you're
Jesus.
crediting a monster that just like, oh well, I can guard against this, so my stats look good. I'm like, yeah, but is he doing anything flashy? Is he doing anything cool?
He doesn't need to do flashy.
He's not doing anything. You're just enjoying what your weapon can do. You know?
No. So, like, it's a fight that, like, even at that, any weapon I've used against him, but it's the fact that, like, when he's walking towards it, he is just, it's a mountain. It's a moving mountain. And you've seen my armors. I always love the big chunky armors going. He is just a chunk, and I just love fighting him.
I enjoy him. Gravios for me has always been one that I was a little bit like meh about when he first came into Monster Hunter, like on the PSP ones or whatever else. He was fun, but I'm glad they gave him these new kind of moves that he has and those kind of the flamethrower stuff that he has, because otherwise I think he would be without those kind of things. I think he's a very
big rock.
Yeah, and I think the problem with Wilds is that you're very close to your character. Like, the camera isn't far away from you, so it's quite difficult to.
You can change that, by the way. You can actually go into the settings and zoom all the way out, so you get a good bit more space.
I might,
to
yeah,
do your-
I might
have to
do
do that as
that
well.
because I think some of the big monsters, in terms of where the way my settings are at the minute, means I kind of miss really a lot of what's going on.
A
when
lot of the
they're
time
too
you're
big.
fighting a big monster, like
You just at their
all I
toe.
can see is, like, especially if you fight Gora Magale, whose cloak just kind of covers everything.
Yeah.
You cannot see shit.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
Yeah.
it's very, very difficult.
Any other notable mentions? I'm a big fan of the fact that they brought back the Yan Cuckoo. Just it was an old favorite.
So I didn't want to say anything about that because I wasn't too sure if you'd done that particular part. But have you come across the nest yet?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
The nest is like, I think that's one of the first things you do post first credit scene.
Yeah, where you come across like 20 of them.
Yeah, there's loads. Yeah, you have to split them up and things. It's good.
That I really enjoy because that was just chaos. That was like there's no guarding this. There's no doing this like stylishly. This is just cuckoos everywhere.
The pack stuff is good, and I think it needs a bit more of that because you can get a pack of Doug Shum or whatever, however you pronounce that one, and you can get packs of Yan Cuckoo. And me and Kev did a quest together where it was like, oh, we have to focus on this one Yan Cuckoo, but we were like surrounded by 4, and me and Kev were just like, bring it on, we'll take this on. And it was good crack. We were getting wrecked, but it was good crack, like you know. And like I said, I need that kind of difficulty level, and I'd love more packs of things would be good fun. But Craig, you look like you're about to say
sorry,
monster.
just because that, like, we've had very few fights as a group, but one of the best ones, I'd say the best one we had was when we fought those 2 fire monkeys.
Yes.
What are they called?
Orang.
So my least favorite monster in all of Monster Hunter is Rajang.
Yes.
I fucking hate Rajang because he's like barely bigger than a human, and yet he's like an elder dragon, you know. And I'm like, when I see a dragon and a small monkey, I'm like, there's no way you can win. Look at your size. Muscles matter. Size matters.
Yeah,
Wait, what Rajang did you fight? Because
Rajang is tiny.
They're, I mean, compared to other monsters,
Rajang is
small.
fucking like an absolute paperweight in terms of Monster Hunter size. But this beast, this fire monkey, is big. Gorilla. He's a lot of the same moves as Rajang, but he has a cool kind of rolling attack. He's like what Rajang should be.
That one where he goes into the air as well is fantastic. He just jumps up and all of us go, he's in the air.
Because that was a great one, and we fought a queen version of that, and it was quite noticeable because obviously one of them was small, but the other one was fucking massive.
Monstrous.
In the arena thing where you can split them up, and that was good crack. And like that to me, and like that was tough. That took us a decent amount of time.
It wasn't tough. It just took a while.
It just took a while. Yeah. And because none of us died, I don't think. Sure, we didn't.
No.
No. And that's sort of thing as well. There's certain settings that, and that's when I know there's a problem with the difficulty level when we're encouraging each other not to bring specialist tools to make the job easier. Like I was telling you, like none of us should have what's the skill that increases health?
I have a new armor
wide range.
Wide range.
I have a new armor thing built up because I was watching a YouTube thing and they're saying, oh, you should try mixing this and this, and it's a bit of fun. The mushroom medic, which is the most fun I've ever had as a, like, I don't attack. I just sit back and do all these, like, so you basically have this mushroom mancer, which allows you, if you get up through the levels, you can eat all the different mushrooms in the game. So blue mushroom, nitro shroom, excite shroom, all those kind of things. With wide range on, so the effects of these go to everybody else. But I mean, you're buffing people up with loads of sports skills by just gobbling down mushrooms, and it's fantastic because everyone's getting.
How is that fun?
Huh?
So you're standing there and just watching people's stats go up, and you're saying that's fun.
I always played as healers, and Darren will tell you, I'm always a healer in games. Like this is you basically. I enjoy.
You don't make any sense, Andy. Like you're like, oh my god, his attack went up by 5%. Oh, this is great. Like, what are you talking about? Like that doesn't make any sense.
Hey, Craig, everybody to their own thing, you know.
No, he's wrong.
Don't go yucking people's gums.
Listen, you're the man who enjoys flying around the arena with your light little spear.
I can feel the wind in my hair, man. Like, you know, what are you doing? Like,
but yeah, I mean, so that's the only thing is that because of the difficulty level, like we are encouraging each other not to bring skills like wide range that cure everybody and everything like that because it just makes it too easy. But yeah, that was a great fight with those 2 monkey things, and that felt a bit more.
It felt more monster.
It felt more monster because like the 4 of us, anytime we hopped in to help each other with, like, let's say we were on with Kev and he was like, hey, I'm just looking to get this thing's fang. Anybody want to jump in? It's like, yeah. 4 minutes. 4 minutes later, we're all back at camp being like, all right, what's the next thing? And that's the problem I'm having with it.
But I think that has a lot, and yeah, it is a thing. But again, all of us are veterans at Monster Hunter. We've all played Monster. We know how all the weapons work. And like Gunlance and Greatsword, they're the only 2 weapons I play, so I can't speak to any other weapon really. The attack styles haven't changed. Like, I've mastered those weapons the minute I picked them up because they're identical to how they worked in Worlds.
Well, that's not the case for all ones because the charge, you're
my 2 weapons. Like the insect glaive has like been really weakened. I would say, nerfed massive because insect glaive is basically one of those weapons where you don't have a block, you don't have any of these type of things. So like you want to hit and run, you know. But like now it's entirely built around this long wind up attack that like. Everything you do is just to pull that off, but like in order to do it you have to charge circle and then unleash this like 5-second long combo, and then once that combo ends then you can do your rising move. So you're committed to an attack that lasts about 8 or 9 seconds, like, you know, and like during all of that you can take hits, like, you know. So like the amount of times and what's crazy is the longsword had the helm splitter move, which is brilliant, but you're completely invincible now when you do that. Like in the other games you could be knocked out
Oh,
of
you
the
could be
air.
smacked out
You'd
of
be
it,
smacked,
yeah.
and most of the times it would whiff. Whereas in this game, you're just completely invincible, whereas the insect glaive move is not invincible, and if you're hit just as you start it, you lose all your buffs. The move is gone, and you're on the ground like an idiot. And you're like, I'm getting hit so much more because I have to commit to the attack, you know? Or I just only use the attack when he's paralyzed, but that's not fun. You know? I just
you want to go
do
in
it,
all the
like,
time.
you know?
Yeah.
There is one thing I'll say about that as well that I've noticed, and it's one thing I really don't like. So longsword users constantly getting stun locked by them because they're doing their attacks, and it's knocking me out of my... Like, so I can block monsters, but you can't block other players. So if I have the shield up, other players' attacks go through the shield because you can't hurt each other.
Okay, right.
Whereas beforehand, if I had like a great sword, and we've done it before, like I think myself and Luke at one stage, and like
PSP days.
PSP ones, we'd use the triangle and circle with the longsword and try and knock each other backwards. But you'd hold up your longsword to block it and basically try and like do ping pong back and forth kind of thing. That doesn't work now. You can't. Your sword swings just swing through each other, except for the longsword, which will knock you out of your block every time it's swung. And if you're getting toe to toe with a monster, you're constantly getting knocked out of.
So there is a on that one. So everyone's attack can flinch you. Everyone's for all the moves. There is a skill that you can get which stops that from.
I've never been
here's
knocked
the thing.
by anyone.
You're a bit more of an aerial.
Yeah,
I'm rarely standing beside.
It's only when you're
like,
underneath the creature and you really kind of notice it.
Yeah.
But it's the thing is you could get one in Worlds which is called flinch free.
Yeah.
Which meant they couldn't hurt you. Now flinch free isn't here.
Well,
but now
flinch free is there.
Is it?
Yeah, I use it in my
I've never
sets.
gotten a single.
Yeah.
Flinch.
Yeah, so it's the same thing. So
Maybe
like for
that's the
me,
reason.
yeah. So
That
for
could
me,
be the
when
reason.
I,
Yeah,
when
if I
I
had
go-
that, I'd be straight away. But I thought it was shockproof was the new one, which you actually
No.
equip that stops you from.
getting flinched.
No, a longsword user equips it, and it means their attacks don't flinch other people.
Oh no, I have a skill. I must check what it's called, but I have a skill that means that no one's attacks affect me.
Yeah, it's flinch free, but I've
I don't think flinch free is the skill you're. Flinch stops tripping and minor damage, you know, but it doesn't mention anything about like other players being able to.
almost
hit you.
positive flinch free.
There is a move that does it, but it's not flinch free because I have that in my set and I don't have that ability. It just stops like minor knockovers.
Yeah.
So if you take small damage, you don't trip or you don't fall.
Is that not what the longsword attacks are though? Is like minor damage.
No, because I know the skill you're talking about specifically says that other players won't affect you. It has that in the description.
Oh, okay.
Whereas Brace does not say that. Like it just is like will stop minor damage.
Because the first time we went out in the quest, we went out with Niall, who's got dual blades, and I remember a fight with him underneath the monster, and I was like, "Oh my god, I can't get a fucking hit off here." And then I think like literally 2 or 3 quests later, I got one of the jewels that whatever the skill is called, I can't remember. It meant that no one's attacks could make you
I
flinch.
know what I'm hunting for tonight.
Yeah, I'd say you probably have. I mean, I got one very early on, so probably, I'd say you'd have one. Kind of coming on
just because we were talking about weapons, I played a little bit of longsword, and I must say, like, Jesus Christ, like they've massively buffed. Like longsword was already like I think the favorite weapon, but like it is so much better than my insect glaive. Like, you can dodge everything, you can counter everything, and your moves are invincible. You know, and I'm like.
And
why does it get so much? Like it already had so much and it got so much more. Whereas like it pretty much has everything it had in Rise except for that move where you pulled yourself towards the monster and did a spin. But it has all the extra stuff with more extra cool stuff now when you're in the red.
Like that,
whereas me, I have like one extra move and that's it. And I'm just so jealous of what the longsword got, like, you know, because like it's very easy to play I'd say there's a lot of people who can play the longsword and just never get hit because once you've the timing down, you can block or counter everything, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, that's not fair.
I do love watching those, like when you see people who've got the counter down to longsword. So you see the monster charging for them, and rather than get out of the way, they just put the sword down beside themselves and just stare down the monster and then fly through it when it hits them. It's like, what is this? It's like.
For me, Charge Blade, which was my weapon of choice in World and Rise, hasn't seen I think not too many differences. I think there's a way to power up further your axe, whatever, to deal more damage. And I've only recently just mastered it in its entirety in terms of all the moves and the best flow. I mean, I thought I had it, but I watched a YouTube video of like, this is how you should be using the thing, and I was like, oh, there's a step in there there's a step in there I'm not doing. And now I'm just fucking owning things. But the Charge Blade is for me still one of the coolest looking weapons.
Does look class,
like it's mobile. It feels like I've got a sword and shield and then a great sword at the same time, like, you know, and you just switch between the two, which is like.
Do you find out an issue with the weapons is that you're not really paying attention to what the monster's doing? You're just doing what you need to do requires so much attention. Like, it's not like I'll hit triangle to attack. It's like triangle, triangle, circle, triangle, or two triangle. You know, like you have to do all these combinations that are really, really annoying when a monster's hitting you. Like, you know?
Stop hitting me! I just want to get my
like, I
combo
feel like
out.
even
Do
if the
you
monster's
mind?
standing still and not attacking, I would miss a lot of my stuff because it's so
You're
complex.
just going through the process. I think so, because I don't remember in World me having to go through that many, I would say, laps of the set of things you have to do to get the charge blade fully charged. That being said, though, it is so much fun when everything's fully there. Like when I've charged up the sword and the shield and the axe head, and then you unleash the attack. I'm always like, oh, this is so worth it.
It looks
like,
amazing.
you know?
Like, as soon as I saw the charge blade, I was like, I could never ever play sword and shield because it looks like a little bitch version. I'm just like, it's your shield is 10 times bigger, your sword is 3 times longer, and it glows. And then like the sword and shield is like a dagger and a buckler. You know, like it's fucking pathetic. Like, you know, I'm like, why would I want to use those? Like, you know.
And the thing, because Kev's a sword and shield user, and the one thing that I would be a bit jealous of is his mobility is crazy, which is like sometimes when I'm fighting monsters and I am getting wrecked sometimes because I can't get out of the way of things quick enough, or I'm in my combo and there's no way to get out. I think the sword and shield, the fun thing about that one is I think there's an exit out of every combo. And
He'd
want to
be faster. He's not holding anything.
The last thing we'll go on to, fellas, in our kind of brief rundown of what we're enjoying or not enjoying on Monster Hunter Wilds, customization. So I first want to talk about that you enjoy creating your character, and then we'll go and talk about like the guts of a Monster Hunter, which is just pure building armor sets and skill sets. So from my own perspective, I had a blast, probably spent too long creating my character. I tried to make it look like me. Initially I was like, I'm going to put myself in the video game, and then I was watching me do the first couple of cutscenes and like, this guy's so fucking boring. So I went back and just like spent my free ticket to like change my guy entirely, like this say wizened like I suppose like battle worn samurai looking dude. He's got a really good voice, whatever else, and I just thought like, wow, I'm really enjoying him and all the cutscenes. I'm really enjoying him when I'm sitting down in camp. He's a cool looking dude, and I spent a lot of time on it, so I was chuffed with the level of customization for the characters. What about you guys?
Yeah, I mean, like I say, like since the first Monster Hunter game came out, that you could name your character. Like I called him Varlin, and then once the second name Varlin Trosk, and it's been the same character throughout. But with the PSP ones, you could just change the hair color. You couldn't really make them look older.
They had like just
the
like
facial
set
things.
face. It was like 6 different faces. Yeah.
So that I've kind of like when Monster Hunter World came out, then I made him look as old as humanly possible because I figured, oh well, that's the last Monster Hunter now that I'll probably be playing. Then Wilds came out and actually did have the option to make him look weathered and gaunt, and so he looks battered and bruised at this age, covered in scars. His hair's all scraggly, and I did spend about 2.5 hours making him. So
I think that was kind of the thing that we all suffered from, is spending maybe too long.
Yeah, I did the exact same thing, and of course I made my character be strafe, and similar to yourself and probably a few others, we always just revert to our D&D characters, which is exactly what I did as well. Like, you know, I was like, no, I'm making strafe, and he's this like young prodigy who's like supposed to be like, he's just really, really capable, really skilled, but really, really arrogant and a real fucking dickhead, like, you know? So, like, I love that, like, he's the type of guy who'll annihilate a monster and not break a sweat. So I wanted to have him. I didn't want any scars. I just wanted him to look picture perfect, brilliant hair, all built and chiseled and stuff like that. So when I was
the literal polar opposite of what I've got.
Exactly, But the annoying thing is, though, like, when you make a character like that, you're pretty much making the base character, except maybe a slightly different hairstyle, because you're not adding scars, you're not adding cool features, glasses or anything. So you're kind of vanilla, really, you know, ultimately. But I was like, no, that's the way strafe is, so that's the way it's got to be.
And then finally, which is again the guts of any Monster Hunter game, are you enjoying the level or the variety of the armor and skill sets and things? Because I mean, we'd all spend a huge amount of time, and especially hopefully we will do when the game becomes a bit tougher and they bring out DLC, where almost every fight is a different plan. We don't get so much of that now.
We don't have any of that.
No, at all.
No. But it does look like, in terms of and it's a pity because things are like jewels and everything like that you'd use to enhance your armor or your weapons. They're quite readily available compared to previous games. Like I fucking stonks of them every time I go into a fight, which is crazy. Which is a pity, because I did enjoy the fact that there was an ongoing thing where, like, I think attack jewel level 3 was the most sought after. The pinnacle of jewels, and I think I only ever found one of them maybe in my time in Monster Hunter. I don't think I've found any of them. I've gotten a couple level 2 ones, but I know all those people out there. I've seen it on Reddit where everyone was like, oh, this was easier than I anticipated to be to get it. But I think there's still, if the game can become more difficult, I can see it's still got all those great,
Yes.
all the different skills, especially as a charge blade user. I've already seen skill sets that are available there for me to kind of allow me to charge the blade quicker, allow me to hold more vials of the charge in my weapon, all those kind of things that I'm like looking at being like, I don't need you yet, but when I do, like, you know. Any thoughts on?
Yeah, I mean, like I loved customization, but I'm like 81 hours in, and I have all the armors I want. And I mean, I even managed to get the Death Stench, which is supposed to be not the hardest armor to get, but I mean, it's the most kind of like grindy one.
Well, it's quite rare, isn't it? You need all those the
you need
splits of the robe or something like that, isn't it?
You need the Sinister Cloth, and
That's
the
the
only
one,
way to
yeah.
get Sinister Cloth was to get the 10 Ancient Wyvern coins per Sinister Cloth. So you need 50 coins basically to get it.
Ugh.
Yeah,
I've got maybe 5 of those coins, you know.
So I managed to do that, and I managed to get all the coins together. Got the thing. So I use that as my standard layered armor. And then I'm wearing underneath it, I think it's full Guardian Arkveld armor.
Okay.
So my defense is something like, I think it's 475 now. So
Man's all about
That
his stats.
seems high. That's a
Yeah.
number.
But no, sorry, like I've always, and I have to laugh. I remember I said Monster Hunter World when it first came out. I was never like because the other games didn't really have stats like that kind of thing. It was never a case of changing all your stats particular for fights and stuff. And I remember going on to the Reddit and going, here's like, because everyone's like putting up their stats and stuff, and I pumped all of mine into defense, and everyone's gonna be going, what the fuck you doing? Where's your attack? You just sit there and just take all the hits. Like, yes, and I enjoy it. So fuck off.
Yeah, well,
But that's
he plays a certain way, Craig. You know.
Yeah, at least we know.
Yeah.
yeah. Well, like you've seen it. Like I'll take the heaviest, biggest, chunkiest weapons and just sit there and tank all the hits.
Sounds hella fun. Wait, you
I
go ahead.
get nauseous watching you flying around the air. So
But yeah, I think for me, I don't think I could play it the way. Well, I mean, like I said, everyone to their own, but it wouldn't be my.
I could do
my
it now
cup of
and
tea.
then for a change of pace, sure. But
Yeah.
like, you know, generally that wouldn't be like how I would fight. Because after fighting one monster, I'd be like, okay, gonna sit back again.
Yeah.
Cheer everyone from the
It is
sidelines.
funny because even me, because you get in this game we did mention you get 2 weapons that you can bring with you on any quest, any hunt.
which is nowhere near as good as I thought it was going to be.
Well, it's funny you say that because I was like, cool. So I'm like, I'm definitely going to bring my bow gun or like and I was like, because I'm doing charge blade and I used to always have my guy in very kind of what would you say, light armor, so he was mobile and stuff like that. But I've gone for a bit more of my guy's bulk because the charge blade is a big weapon sometimes. So I given him a heavy bow gun this time to be like, yeah. And you do that, and I get out and I'm like firing the things at the monster, and the whole time I'm there, and I only ever do that when we're a multi, you know, where all of us are in for a quest, and I see like 3 people hacking and slashing this guy. I'm sitting there being like, but I want to do that.
Yeah, right.
So I immediately put it away and then I get my charge blade again. So it is a cool thing to have, but yeah, I think
what sucks though is because like if you want to switch weapon, like there's no way you would have any of the same skills or any of the same armor if you switched from an insect glaive to say a great sword or something. Like, you know, like immediately every skill you have is now obsolete. You know?
Yeah.
Because there's no way you'd be using the same skills for the same weapon or the same armor, the
Yeah.
same anything.
Which is
So it should have been like, you know, you press left on the D-pad and you switch your weapon, and then I mean, there's a little animation of maybe your hunter putting on the different gear. Maybe it takes an extra 3 or 4 seconds, but
Yeah.
he should switch.
even just the
Armor
way
set.
the way you put on the mantles, even something like that, just to say he throws like
Yeah,
a cloak over
just show
himself
some
and he
sort of
has a new-
animation to show that he's switched his armor.
Yeah.
You know, and have it done that way. That way you could actually use the second weapon. But as it stands, you just won't because
Yeah.
it's going to be worse, you know?
Yeah, it's true. And I think the handy thing is I think you have to plan your weapons. It's the one good thing about the charge blade is that because it uses like vials or charges and stuff, some of those skills are across like the ammo as well as the charge blade stuff. But yeah, it does become
Particularly
void.
from high rank on. 'cause,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
although
yeah,
it doesn't
yeah.
matter, like, but yeah.
Thoughts on the future of Wilds, gentlemen, before we finish up? I know, again, we have an update in April for some new monsters, a guild area, like a proper lobby area, which I think was very much welcome because I'm not a fan of the base camp scenarios because they don't really feel like I'm in.
And
Let's all get
that's
ready.
one gripe I have with it as well, because it constantly annoys the hell out of me. You know, you can you can set up the pop-up camps across the map.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I like
So I like that having it. What I don't like is coming into the map and going, such and such has destroyed your camp. And he goes, well, I needed that to get there. Now I've got to walk to a camp that I've already built up before.
It depends on where you are, but you can talk to. I think you have to be the base camp, but you can talk to one of the palicos, and they'll repair the tent for you instantly, so you can travel there. I've had that issue a couple of times,
but it's a hassle.
But
like,
if you're out and about and you need to travel somewhere,
you're
never going to know something's broke until you see it's broke when you need to go there.
You're like,
and it's like, so I've got to travel back to base camp to reset to travel out to it. Kind of, it's a necessary step that adds into fast travel.
So I'm interested to see what this new guild lobby thing looks like. But I do miss, like, I mean, we had so much fun. We were in stitches laughing sometimes with just like dicking about, like with like character animations and stuff like that in the old guild halls and stuff like that. Yeah, it was always good fun.
Not only that, we need, because like cooking by yourself and just having a bit of fish or vegetables for me, that's not fun. I want to see the cats create a big massive feast.
There was a thing about this. I don't know, was people had mentioned it, and it sounded no.
Ambrose doesn't like it either.
Sounded sensible. It's like they were sent out here. They're like the advanced scouts for this mission. And once this guild hall or whatever arrives, this is supposed to be the rest of everyone else arriving kind of thing. So it makes sense that the cats with all the food would arrive with this. You're basically just going out and cooking your own food because you're the advanced force. So you're the scouts. So when the rest of everything else arrives, this update with the guild hall should bring the food.
I hope so. I hope it just brings in there like
I just want the big massive cat with muscles to make it food, like,
and I'd prefer to have, like I said, it was cool, even like the whole blacksmith big thing that we had in the other guilds where you go in and get your weapons made on a conveyor belt.
It was like a big
kind of
forge.
Stuff.
It wasn't just some fucking tent with her just like looking hot.
So it's missing some of those aspects of it, I think, in terms of where I feel like I'm very much like soloing this game. You know what I mean? I don't really feel like I'm part of a team, which is a pity. But I know we were complaining about difficulty. Do you think it will reach the level of Monster Hunter World's Fatalis for us? Do you think they'll get there?
I don't think there'll ever be a boss that difficult, just based on its sheer design. They just don't seem to be going that route. It seems easy is their intended.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, like, if 8 million people are playing, how many of them are going to get to Fatalis, you know? Like, the numbers are saying, like, obviously loads and loads of people, it's gone mainstream. Loads and loads of people have bought this game, 8.2 million players or something like that.
Yeah.
But, like,
they want to keep them playing.
What percentage of those are going to get to that Fatalis, you know? So they're not going to cater to us anymore. They're not going to prioritize us because it's the new fans who are going to give them all the money, like, you know? And unfortunately, that's how the world works.
That's why we can't have anything nice.
That's why I would even be surprised if they do. Do you know the way Iceborne took place immediately after World? I bet it didn't sell nearly as well as World because you basically had to fight a really difficult monster in order to even start Iceborne.
Yeah.
Which most people just wouldn't be able to beat, like, you know?
Yeah.
It took an advanced player to be able to beat
and it's funny because Colin, I remember when we did World,
he didn't beat it.
He didn't beat it and he gave up. Yeah.
Instantly. Yeah. And, like, he was a good player. You know, imagine you didn't play World. You've no chance of playing Iceborne.
Yeah.
So it's like you either, like, there's just no means. So I don't think they're going to do that again. I think, we'll have our third tier of difficulty, but it'll be mainly, here's some new monsters. Here's your new thing. Well done. You beat it. It was easy. And now here's their high rank at the end of all that, you know?
I don't think so. I think they're going to... We've got, like, high rank. We've got lower rank and high rank, and we've got tempered monsters in the high rank now. I think they'll bring in master rank and then tempered master rank quest, and I can almost sure there'll be something higher than that again.
Well, they will eventually.
They did say it then, and this is where I'm going to give myself a big injection of hopium here. But they did say that there will be a new type of monster above tempered, and I think that difficulty or whatever that monster is being introduced purely for us.
Yeah.
And I hope that when that is introduced and we go and fight whatever the first one of those things there, that we sit there and say, oh, we're back, baby. Like, this is, I hope it's that.
I want to go in, like I said this to you before, I want to go into a fight and have my ass handed to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Remember the first time you fought Fatalis? I think you're dead in like 30 seconds.
And then
you've lost all 3 lives in 30 seconds.
Fatalis comes along and you go solo because you've soloed everything up until that point, and you go into that fight and it just picks you up, hoops you against a wall and breathes fire.
But
I
need a monster to make me sit in the thing and say, right, what defense?
I want to spend 3 hours looking over my armor and my decorations and my stats, and just spend it trying to counter the monster through, like, what monster do, like, maybe I don't even have the armor pieces and now I have to go fight those monsters just to be able to beat this monster. And I did that all the time with the Raging Brachydius, with the Albion, with the Fatalis. Like, those were ridiculously tough monsters that I needed to, like, play for 10 hours just to get the gear I needed to beat those monsters. And that's how I want to play.
That's it. You need that level of challenging difficulty, which we haven't seen anywhere close to that yet.
No, not yet, but fingers crossed. Final thoughts from you each, gentlemen. Craig, do you recommend Monster Hunter Wilds?
Yeah, for me, it's still an amazing game because like Monster Hunter games are better than most games. So I know I've been very, very negative, but I mean, here's a quick. I love that when you set things on your wish list and you're going into hunts, you can see the listed materials pop up on that. That is an amazing like
dopamine
quality of
pushing it
life
off.
improvements. That is really, really helpful. I absolutely love that. Some of the brand new monsters are all brilliant. I think pretty much all of them are winners. Like I like Zuwu. I like that raging guy. Even the Chupacabra at the start and that kind of chicken Tyrannosaurus. I think they're all brilliant. Great new additions. Great monsters. I think that there's a lot to look forward to in the future. We just need the high difficulty.
Essentially, or just get worse at the game. Whatever happens for us. Andrew, final thoughts on Monster Hunter Wilds?
Yeah, no, would definitely recommend it. But as I say, you need to watch a YouTube tutorial kind of thing if you're just starting off in a Monster Hunter game, because there's a lot of stuff at the start of it just won't make sense. But yeah, no, absolutely love it. As Craig said, the monsters in it, fantastic. I love the design. The multiplayer, I do love once you can get into it, how it works and stuff. Really loving that as well. I love it. It's Monster Hunter.
And if it's your first Monster Hunter, I think it's a great introduction. Well, I mean, I think any Monster Hunter being your first would be brilliant, because you get 14 brand new weapons and 30 plus brand new monsters you've never seen before, whereas for us it's only about 15 new monsters, but if it was your first, then these are extremely
but
wild.
The thing about that is all the weapons are available to you from the start. So you higher rank level ones, that's fine, you have to work for them, but every weapon is available at the start of the game. From
myself, big fan, thoroughly enjoying it. Classically Monster Hunter, but just not hard enough. But again, we're all veterans, so like I said, I don't think that's the same rule for everybody. I think it's got room to improve and room to grow. But like as you said, Craig, it's a fantastic game. Just not the best of the Monster Hunter games. That's a great way to put it. I highly recommend though. We've been kind of critical on this, but it's only because it's like
we love it so much.
We
want to see the little flaws, and it's a shame that we spend so much time. It's just we played so much of the other Monster Hunters that we're just like, we just hoped it would do this and we hoped it would do that, those little things, and sometimes they drop the ball, but not with everything. And because there's room for improvement, we do think that they will do it.
Like I said, we'll wait until next year when we get a big DLC, and in the meantime, any of the updates and kind of events that they bring up will hopefully be challenging, tough, and enjoyable for us to just pump more fucking hours into Monster Hunter Wilds. Gentlemen, it's been great to have you on. We'll probably do a little quick Battle Royale for the Patreon, patreon.com/giftedgaming. You can check it out there. Craig, thank you so much for joining me. Andrew, thank you so much for joining me. And to our listeners, as always and forever, keep enjoying the gift that is gaming. Peace out.